This is Smooth, my dear. We love music, love life. On a Monday morning, 31 minutes past 7 a.m. You're tuned in to the Smooth Breakfast. Ayokunmi right there, ready to take you on a journey into the world of the papers. Take a look at the headlines making the rounds that I've got you, me, and Nigeria talking as well. This is Freshly Pressed. Welcome along to the ride. It is an interactive one, as always. So we're looking forward to you sharing your thoughts this morning on the stories we'll be sharing. WhatsApp is the platform 0809 440 981. 0809 440 981. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You can catch us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Now, I'm doing this alone. I've got two amazing gentlemen in studio. And of course, Mr. C on the Monday morning. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Great to have you in.
Good morning, Mr. C. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning to all the wonderful listeners out there. Let's make this a marvelous Monday.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, AB. Good morning, Lagos. Good to be back.
Yes, good to have you back, Mr. C. I mean, coming back, looking all fresh and everything. But let me not say more than that. Let's keep it in house. Okay, let's begin our journey in the Daily Post this morning. It's all about the River State elections. Now, Governor Sim Fubara of River State on Sunday presided over the swearing-in ceremony for the newly elected chairpersons of the 23 local government councils in the states. Now, the inauguration was observed by Senator Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State and chairman of the People's Democratic Party's Forum, Mr. C. Very interesting events out there in River State. Out of the 23 local government areas, the Action People's Party APP won 22, and of course the AC won the final local government. That's Eche local government area. So it has been done. They've been sworn in. Where do we go from here?
Okay, thank you, Aya. So let's go back just a bit. Local government elections were held in about 4 or 5 states on Saturday, and River State happened to be one of them. Now, in all of the states where the local government elections were held, parties supported by the incumbent governor swept the polls. And this has been par for the course since 1999. So no news there. Now, in River State, the APP, which hitherto has been an unknown force with regards to River State politics, took 22 out of 23 local governments. And the AAC, another unknown party, relatively unknown party, took the last slot. What that means is that the hitherto recognized parties on the ground, that is the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress, did not win any of the local government elections. Now, of course, people will say that there was a court case and that a federal high court had given an order. Now, it's important to note a number of things. Order against me. Now, an ex parte order means that when you have made the application for the order, I was not made a party to that application. I was not aware of the existence of that application. Until you serve me with the on-road order as made by the court, I am not aware, one, of the order, two, I am not bound by it. Now, the River State Electoral Commission organized the elections on Saturday. We heard the Nigeria Police Force saying that they were restrained by the Federal High Court ruling that came from Abuja not to provide security to the election, for the election. We also saw reports of violence in certain areas in River State. But here we are. The election has been conducted. Results have been declared. Winners have been given their certificates of return, and they have been sworn in. Now, at this point, the only option open to aggrieved parties is to go to court and ventilate their claims there, because the court is the proper forum for ventilating any grievance you have against social media to cry. And we can only strengthen our institutions and the process we're running where we always test the effectiveness or validity of actions taken in the court. Thankfully, we have a new Chief Justice of Nigeria who has promised to uphold the law and will be no respecter of persons. So this is a clarion call to those who are seemingly affected by the developments in River State to explore the mechanisms of court. Now, more importantly, a local government election in River State. Why are you up in Abuja? There's a federal high court that sits in Port Harcourt. Why didn't you approach that court if there's no mischief being sought to be achieved? So, beyond all of this, I think it's a bit baffling that in local government elections, only one party sweeps everything, which makes absolutely no sense. Because in previous elections, the results are spread around, which reflect the fact that no one individual, no one party is that popular, is that powerful to sweep every single position available. But you'll find that this is what goes on all around the country, has gone on for the last 25 years. And it makes a mockery of it because remember, we have presidential elections, we have gubernatorial elections, we have House of Assembly elections, we have National Assembly elections. No on the ground. You will find in one or two cases another party takes up one or two positions.
Right.
But in local government elections, it's a clean sweep. Now, going forward, since the political class will not clean up their act anytime soon, it now behoves on the good people of each of these local governments to hold these people that have been seemingly elected into office to account. So they should chase when allocations are made. They should ask questions as to what the plans are. If projects are taking forever to be completed, ask the right questions. Put these people on their toes so that they know it's not a 3-year or 4-year holiday, that it's time for serious work. And just maybe we'll start to see results.
Yes, maybe. I need to bring you, but I know these elections actually hit close to home for you.
Now, I'm having difficulty hearing you, but I should just say, in line with what you did say, Mr. C, about holding people to account, Nigerians should understand that the template for what the local government is supposed to do for each of us is absolutely only one A4 sheet worth of paper and expectations. So it's not even a matter of cramming the Constitution, as lawyers like Mr. C must know. The rest of us can just get that one A4 sheet and understand the areas that the local government is supposed to come through for us in healthcare, in education, in medical, in markets and all that. So do make the effort, understand what your local government is supposed to be doing for you, and that is the template with which you approach your local government officials politely with organization and get the benefits therefrom.
And we're still staying with us, talking about holding those who should be held accountable. Let's head into the Guardian and take the story coming out of there. Now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, that's Sarah, they've asked President Bola Tinubu to withhold allocations to states that have failed to conduct credible local government elections. And, off the back of elections that were held at grassroots level in some states like River State, Benue, Akwa Ibom, Jigawa. Now, most states, however, are yet to conduct local government polls and still collect money from the federal allocations for their respective local council. Now, displeased by this development, the group described the actions of some state governments as wrong. What are your thoughts on this one, AB? I mean, holding these people accountable.
I remember months ago when the Supreme Court made that judgment that, more or less broke the whole autonomy camel's back so that the local governments are now autonomous. In the immediate aftermath of that, there was, if you want to call it, a moratorium given to assorted states. I don't yet know, based on date, whether that moratorium has expired. But I remember that prior to that ruling, at least River State had already scheduled its local government elections, which have now held. So the question would be, as SERAP is coming in, yes, SERAP is asking for a means by which to hold the funds accountable. But until and unless that moratorium has expired, maybe it will be premature. But I do agree with SERAP that if a state government willfully refuses to organize and conduct local government elections, flawed as they may be, then they are sitting in direct, they're flouting a Supreme Court judgment. And that should be one of the means of, if you want to say, holding them accountable, or at least making sure that there's a consequence. There's now a local government that's supposed to be getting the funds directly. If you, as the state government, refuse to, quote unquote, create that enabling environment, then that money definitely should not come to that state's treasury. I think that could be one means, indeed, of ensuring that every state conducts those elections. Yes, we will have definite queries about how it is that these states are sweeping these elections. Yes, but at least let us have the process. When we have the process, we can improve it. But if you don't have the process, you have nothing to even examine and interact with. So SERAP is once again doing a yeoman's job, highlighting these gaps in structure and process of Nigerian democracy. And you cannot but take your hat off to SERAP for this good work and these points that they keep on highlighting.
Thank you for those thoughts, AB. But you also need to wonder and ask yourself the question. I mean, do we always need SERAP to be ones to point out the most obvious? I mean, things that are clear to even the most blind of people. SERAP always has to be the one to point these things out. I mean, we ever get to a point where it becomes second nature and we don't need someone to point and say, hey, it's supposed to be like this, even though you can actually see it's supposed to be that way.
I think this is why credit must go to SERAP, because indeed, while everybody sees it, a lot of us are exhausted with the impunity we see. People have lost faith in the willingness of those purportedly in office to do the right thing. And despite that environment, SERAP persists in making it a duty almost from their part to doggedly highlight these things. It's unfortunate that it would take SERAP all the time, but at least it will be on record that these things did not just go into the wind without being highlighted. So again, that is why I give SERAP kudos, but indeed it shouldn't take SERAP at all being this dogged. Some things should go without saying. Unfortunately, so far, our political class has not seized the moment.
Unfortunately. Tony from Ikeja on WhatsApp says, Kai Subiki's political structure was kicked into the deepest part of Oyinbugota on Saturday. Why exactly is it Oyinbugota, 20? Couldn't have been any other one. Barrister Dano Kuda says, Wike should concentrate on his job as FCT minister and allow Fubara govern the good people of River State. Wike should understand that no champion reigns forever. I mean, Manchester United will tell you that one without a doubt. Adegboyega says, I think the lesson learned from the River State local government election is that no human being should be underestimated. The governor, Mr. Fubara, doesn't bark, doesn't look like someone that pulls off a rabbit or pulls out a rabbit from a hat, but he did in the recent local government elections. His arch enemy underestimated him and they were beaten to the canvas. Thank you for your thoughts. Keep them coming in on WhatsApp. Let's take a quick break when we come back in. We'll take more stories. We'll be heading into the Daily Trust and talking about stories that have to do with Nigeria security. Keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1. Press will be back in a bit.
In fairness, they did say that the PDP and APC were not going to take part. And the most interesting thing about that election, they said the police didn't put security, yet it was relatively peaceful, which just goes to tell you that maybe it's the police that is the problem. Either that or the people have resolved that they, the people, truly don't like the notion, and it's maybe just a notion of one person in Abuja trying to be such a dominant, party or factor in the state. I mean, these are just, possibilities, but yeah, it's interesting that the people went relatively smooth. Let's go.
All right. If you're just tuning in, this is Freshly Pressed on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1, your love music, love live station. Ayokunmi right here on the Monday morning with you, taking you into the papers. Welcome along to the ride. Mr. C and Bozimo are with me, taking a look at the stories and, of course, giving their perspective and making it make sense at the end of the day. You also get to have your say. Come through on WhatsApp and share them with us on 0809 981 0809 440-981. That's the WhatsApp number. Also live on YouTube or streaming at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Let me just take one or two messages I can get back in. Rexy from Surrey says, so go to court. So go to court. A phrase that was so derided after the 2023 elections is actually the trite admonition today. The evolution of analysis. Interesting. Thank you for sharing your thoughts there, Rexy. Damilola from Lagos Island says, I hope the proponents of state police are taking notes. These LG elections were horrible. Well, thank you for that. And let's get back in, Mr. C. And like I said, we're heading into the Daily Trust. And Sheikh Gumi is in the news once again. Now, the Kaduna-based Islamic cleric has claimed officials of the federal government accompany him during negotiation with bandits because, in quotes, one cannot go alone. Now, Gumi has been consistent in his demand of granting amnesty to bandits, negotiating with them for peace to reign. This doesn't sound good to me at all, Mr. C. I mean, how does it sound to you?
Yes, so to the rational, logical listener, it sounds preposterous. However, anyone who is conversant with Nigeria security circles, who is conversant with Nigeria security issues, knows that this is a statement of fact. Sheikh Gumi, for a very long time, has had access to these terrorists. I refuse to call them bandits because there's an official federal government gazette that was issued under the Buhari administration where they were properly labeled. Now, on each occasion, we know for a fact that he's accompanied by security officials, he's accompanied by state officials. This is nothing new. And if Nigeria is explained to you and you understand it the first time, then it wasn't properly explained to you. Just the other week, we were told that there's a report which suggests or indicates that a serving senator who happens to chair the Senate Committee on Security supposedly or allegedly sponsored two terrorists for the Hajj in Mecca. Nigeria is an unbelievable tragedy that is being written every day. And it makes no sense. You come and address the people and you tell us, oh, we're determined to flush them off the face of the earth. When we're visited with all sorts of accounts like fleas. And many times, some of these criminals were used for the purposes of elections, and after elections were left to their devices. Now, in the north, we've had the governor of Zamfara State clearly stating that there is a link between some of these terrorists and politicians. And in fact, he did name a particular minister in the current Tinubu as being one of their links and sponsors. The UAE, 2 years ago, identified sponsors, members who are affiliated with terror networks.
About 400.
Some of them are in country. What have we done with that information? So it then goes further. You speak to some of our security agents, and if they tell you the real stories of the horrors they face in the field trying to fight these guys, it's extremely frustrating. It's very saddening. I happened to stumble upon a video by 3 men, presumably soldiers of the Nigerian army, asking Bello Tuji, one of the renowned terrorists, to come and face them, that for some reason they don't understand where they're not being allowed to go and deal with it decisively. This was corroborated by a Nigerian military official, a colonel, saying that, warning Bello Tuji that in Nigeria, we know you are protected. Do not come to Niger with that nonsense. So, at the end of the day, what do we want to do? I think that's the first step. It goes beyond platitudes or soundbites. How do we want to tackle this? Do we want to live with the problem? Do we want to tackle it? We look at Israel and the way they decided they're going against terror organizations. They may have problems with the way Israel has gone about it. But the Israeli government has said, look, you know what? Now we're wiping you off the face of the earth. Whether that is good or not is a completely different question. The attacks against civilians are to be. I'm against the attacks against civilians, but you can see that Israel has a clear plan, and they are going after the leadership. But here, I'm not sure what we do. So, have we engaged Shikumi? Okay, since you have access to these guys, and we're not ready yet to do what is required, how do we resolve this problem? Because part of the problem is economic. Let's not deceive ourselves. There's widespread poverty in the land. People are increasingly getting more frustrated. So if you create an enabling environment where people can actually work and live off the earnings of their livelihoods, that will suffice. We also need to speak to the minds of the people because they are being indoctrinated. So there are many ways to tackle all of this. I'm not sure how the government is doing it, but the way they've chosen to go about it so far has yielded minimal results. This is a conflict we've been living with for 15, 20 years. Should another generation of Nigerians be subjected to this harrowing experience? Only time will tell.
Before we get off this story, some people say that one who does something the same way over and over and expects a different result is probably not, in full control of his faculties, as it were. I mean, we've been doing the same things over and over, and we expect results. But let me just get your thoughts in.
Now, the thing that Shegumi said that I find very troubling is, in my view, he's almost justifying the terrorism. According to him, what we see happening in that region is because people who have been deprived want to fight back. Does he really recognize that that so-called fighting back is actually amounting to pure terroristic activity? I mean, when I hear him speaking like that, I feel he's justifying the murder, the arson, the kidnapping, and all that. There is no grounds under which that can be, instead of trying to go and, in his view, negotiate with them, he should be condemning them. I'm not saying that what is happening to them is good, neither am I, but I'm also saying it's not unique. If not, every single one of Nigeria's 900 plus million square kilometers should be full of terrorists. Everybody is a victim, except a few people in leadership. So no, Mr. Gumi, you have access to these people. Going around trying to justify their terrorism is wrong. But, doing the same thing over and over again, and let's ask, what is it we're doing? Do we have bold steps we have taken? Was it not a few days ago, army chiefs went to Sokoto to do what? They have been there since. I think Bello Chuji uploaded a 5-minute, 40-second video telling them welcome, and nothing has happened to him. On our networks, with one of our phone numbers that's supposed to be linked to NIN. So what are we doing? Can we listen? I'm not saying we don't hear some of these records where the Nigerian army does great things and terminates terrorists. Those are the kind of news I want to hear, but not when you're hearing about somebody going to be among terrorists, telling you he's going with government officials. That means the government officials are creating what I call an enabling environment for these people to thrive. And that in itself is treasonous. Too many people have lost their lives and livelihood, and others who are not dead have been completely shattered in terms of physical, injured and all that. You can't go on like this. So I haven't seen the conviction. Let me just put it like this. When you're in a house and you see a roach, most people I know do not create an environment where you're negotiating with the roach that you should not come. You terminate it without question. That is the same approach that must be taken. You will separate the terrorists, terminate the terrorists, and then those who don't want to be terrorists, you make sure their lives are improved. But you don't have meetings back and forth for years, as you have said, for decades, with terrorists, calling them bandits. That word is non-acceptable. They are terrorists.
All right, let's do some messages. Real quick, Joseph Menu says, it's really unfortunate the kind of shenanigans in all the elections in the states, local governments. It's alleged that all the winners are the governor's puppets, the ruling party, and the governor's choice wins. I mean, if you look at the, the incumbent, the incumbent government and those who win, I mean, you can see a parallel, really. Honestly, the so-called elections are more of selections of caretakers. Why is there no opposition winning a reasonable quota? May God help us. These are the questions. Fabian from Macbeth says, Shegumi should have been taken for questioning and monitored way back. If protesters can be arrested and kept in custody without being charged, and others sponsoring or chatting with terrorists walk around unhindered, it shows a compromise of our security network and why we will remain in this mess. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Sherman from Lekki says, good morning. And off topic, what happens to the mass transit solution promised by the Lagos State government to start on October 1st, 2024? It's still loading. That is another tangent, which Mr. C says is still loading. And once it has fully loaded and we get the lowdown, we will bring it to your attention, most definitely. All right, AB, real quick, let's jump into The Guardian once again. Still talking about matters that have to do with security and all that. Troops of 6th Division Nigerian Army, in a sweeping crackdown on oil thieves, have dealt a devastating blow to economic saboteurs, deactivating over 15 illegal refining sites and arresting 10 suspects in a series of coordinated operations across the Niger Delta. I mean, in this area where we have shortages of oil supply, we need more money because a lot of oil has been mortgaged. This has happened. Now, arrests have been made. But beyond that, is it just going to be arrests being made?
Now, first of all, kudos to the troops in terms of the coordinated attacks. I always have my issues. If they attack and they decide to destroy by burning, that for me is environmentally and sanitary. It's not sane to burn the product, but that they have targeted the people who are going about this illegal activity is right. For one of the first few times, they have arrests because typically here they attack the place and nobody is ever arrested. So these arrests hopefully will lead them to the kingpin. I want to say, if you see these facilities, they're almost like mini industrial sites with pipes and what they call it, storage containers. These things are not easy to put together, neither are they cheap. So if you arrest these boys who are at this site, fine. They must be able to take you to who funded the creation of those places, because those are the people who we must get to. We cannot keep sacrificing the youth who feel that this is a way, an illegal way nonetheless, but a way of making immediate funds. So I just give kudos. They got a lot of stolen products. Did they destroy it or have they taken it in custody? That's the question. They intercepted numbers of vehicles, even a truck loaded with like 40,000 liters of 40,000 liters of crude and all that.
Crude.
There's a lot that they
stolen crude
is reported in this thing. So as I say, kudos to the security forces, but this cannot end on these what I'll call foot soldiers. They must go up the food chain and get the sponsors who are behind these facilities.
All right, let's round up with some messages. Tony from Marine Beach says that analysis clearly explains the frustration among the military. It appears like joining the military is more or less like crazily staking your life. Negotiation is a no-no. Shegumi is clearly culpable, but also protected by the same miles within the military hierarchy. Well, we can't say that he's being protected by the military hierarchy. That we cannot actually be 100% certain of. Tony Alao says, Gumi and Turuji are too powerful for our military to crush. They have absolute freedom. It's obvious they work for strong elites. The security agencies know their employers. Let's not be deceived. Idimapuza says, Fubara has taught Wiki how to make loud noise without talking. Action speaks louder for him. Let's watch how Wiki will use another call to thwart that successful election in Rivers State. And finally, Tayo says, it's not easy wresting power from your predecessor. Rivers LG elections have overtaken that of Akwa Ibom. The only positive is that with the absence of police, there was no casualty or election rigging. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And thank you so much, AB and Mr. C, for making it in this morning. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. It's great to be here. You guys have a wonderful week ahead. Thanks, Ayo. Thanks, Mr. C. And thanks to all of the great listeners out there.
Thank you for having me here. And here's some rewarding, fruitful, productive week for everyone involved. Take care.
All right. A rewarding and fruitful week it shall be. Keep it tuned to the Smooth Breakfast. It'll be time to talk sports in the locker room at 8:15. Banter. And of course, a lot of excitement to go around. Don't go anywhere.
Network has hung.